All right, everyone, welcome in. Give me just about one moment here. I am pulling up our presentation for this evening, and we are going to go ahead and get started. So welcome, everyone. My name is Troy Tiemann. I serve as the academic advisor for the Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Management program here at Clemson University. A little bit more detail about that. I serve as the advisor for freshmen, sophomore, transfer, and any change of major students. So really anybody's first semester, maybe first year, even through their first 2 years at Clemson. I'd be working with y'all one-on-one to create plans, talk about your degree progress, and really help you get a good footing in the PRTM degree you're interested in. A little bit of an overview of the PRTM department. Right now, we have a total of 376 students in PRTM. So we're also known as what's called a discovery major. A lot of students will start at Clemson in a different degree path, a different major, and then hear about us kind of as they come along and often change their major into PRTM. So we have some students that'll start right out the gate, first year, first semester, and PRTM all the way through. But we also have a fairly good amount of students that kind of find us along the way, and we're very welcoming to students that kind of find us along their journey. The department is accredited by the Council on Accreditation of Parks, Recreation, Tourism, and Related Professions. So what this also helps is our PRTM graduates are immediately eligible to apply to become National Recreation and Park Association certified park and recreation professionals. So that's a national accreditation that really lends good weight, and you can really know if you choose to pursue PRTM at Clemson, this is a very highly regarded department and major. We do offer a Bachelor of Science degree with a few concentrations and emphasis areas to really tailor your education to fit your own career goals and your own educational interests. And we'll talk more about what these concentrations and emphasis areas are as we move forward. And our students also enjoy really strong placement rates into careers and graduate level programs across the country, but even across the world. So right before we started this presentation, one of our student panelists was sharing they just got accepted to an internship in San Antonio, Texas, as part of their PRTM degree. So that's really exciting, and hopefully can be a little bit of firsthand knowledge and proof that our graduates are really eligible to work anywhere in the country and the world. I think one of the most common questions, at least I get, with Parks, Rec, and Tourism Management is, what can I do in PRTM with this degree? And the short answer is, there's a lot, and there are so many different avenues and possibilities to use your degree to really fit your career interest. So just a couple examples, and I know there's a lot of examples on the slide. Camp management, college, professional, or even recreational athletic roles. We do have students that will choose conservation, natural resource groups, local, state, federal parks. So think maybe park rangers, visitor interpretation services. We will have folks that work for nonprofit organizations, working as certified recreational therapists, travel and tourism industry, and even more of a youth serving agencies and roles as well. So I know it's a lot of examples on the slide, but I really believe that you can be successful in really a wide range of professional careers with this degree. So I touched on this already, but we do offer a Bachelor of Science degree with 2 concentrations to choose from. So we have a Bachelor of Science in PRTM with a concentration in Parks, Recreation, and Tourism. And then under that concentration, students will select either Community Recreation and Sport Management, Parks and Conservation Area Management, or the Travel and Tourism emphasis. And then our second concentration is our Bachelor of Science in PRTM with that recreational therapy concentration. And we're going to talk a little bit about common coursework and kind of the core curriculum for PRTM students. And that really starts with what's called the PRTM Edge semester. So this Edge semester is really your catalyst, your kickstart to the rest of your PRTM coursework here at Clemson. So all students in PRTM, regardless of concentration, whether it's community rec sport management, travel and tourism, rec therapy. All of our PRTM students complete this EDGE semester. Normally happens around the first or second semester of sophomore year, once you've earned about 30 credit hours. Every student who takes EDGE is in the same core classes, and that's PRTM 2000, 2200, 2260, and 2290. So it's taken as a 15 credit hour cluster of courses. So it's a full-time, really deep dive into what PRTM is as a field and as a profession. It's typically completed in the fall of the sophomore year, I should say. However, students do have the option to complete the EDGE semester abroad in Australia the following spring semester if they so choose. And we'll talk more about that EDGE abroad opportunity in just a little bit. Probably the most unique aspect of this EDGE semester, there are no set meeting times, no set locations for classes, and there are no permanent instructors for the course. So that's going to be unlike any semester you've ever taken at college, because most courses are going to be maybe a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or perhaps a Tuesday, Thursday. What we do in the EDGE semester, we ask students that they're available Monday through Thursday, 8 to 2, and Fridays, 8 to noon for this special semester. Now, rest assured, you are not going to be in class that whole time. That is an overwhelming amount of credit hours. However, these classes could happen anytime in those time frames. So the big question we ask ourselves when preparing for the EDGE semester, what is the most meaningful and effective way to deliver the course material? So if the answer to that question means we are getting outside the classroom, we're going to get outside the classroom. If that means we're bringing in guest speakers, if we're taking field trips, if we're doing volunteer work, anything that can really give our students that experiential learning to really show them what PRTM is as a field, as an academic field, and as a career path. So it's a very dynamic, very project-focused semester that really sets the tone and really sets the table for your PRTM degree moving forward. And I've touched on this a little bit already, but a common question we'll also get in the EDGE program is, if we're not in the classroom, how are we really learning, or like, how does this EDGE semester work? So we offer quite a few different opportunities to build that education, whether it's leaving the classroom and getting those hands-on field experiences, doing service learning or volunteer work. Perhaps you're working in small or larger groups with your EDGE cohort mates. Perhaps we are participating in regional and even national workshops and conferences in Parks and Recreation. And then we often will take field trips to visit PRTM professionals, whether that's maybe in the Clemson area or sometimes even out of state. If we do travel out of state, you will get plenty of notice about that, minimum 2 weeks. For students who do want to pursue a study abroad experience within PRTM, in spring semesters, our students may choose to complete the very unique EDGE semester in Australia. So this is actually an 8-week study abroad experience where you actually travel most of the eastern coast of Australia, and you're actually led by PRTM faculty. So the same folks who teach the EDGE semester on campus will also join you in Australia in the spring to help guide and instruct your coursework over in Australia as well. And then just a couple examples of the experiences our students will gain, in addition to the education, of course. We do offer snorkeling in the Great Barrier Reef. We'll visit the Sydney Opera House, go to the Australian Zoo, visit professional sports stadiums, learn more about ecotourism, and even visit the Sporting Wheelies, which is a wheelchair basketball headquarters and gymnasium in Australia. So we are really, really intentional about not only going to Australia, but really seeing everything that Australia has to offer within the PRTM field. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Parks, Recreation, and Tourism concentration specifically. And I know it's kind of confusing because your major is also Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Management. And then you'll also have a concentration in Parks, Recreation, and Tourism. So like I mentioned before, you do have to choose one of the 3 emphasis areas, and these will kind of have coursework that's reflective of the topic of the emphasis area in your career path. Community recreation and sport management is going to look at more commercial recreation, behavioral concepts, and look at more of a sport management focus for you. Parks and conservation area management touches more on visitor services, recreation resource management, and other natural resource opportunities. Travel and tourism is going to touch on tourism management, a broad introduction to tourism, and then also look at global perspectives in tourism and how to manage various tourism and travel aspects within the field. And so when we look at the core curriculum for parks, recreation, and tourism, these are classes that are going to be consistent across community rec sport management, travel and tourism, and the parks and conservation area management. So of course, they start with the EDGE semester. After EDGE, we focus on coursework including program and event planning. We do offer a 3-credit-hour professional preparation course to really set our students up for success, not only when they're looking for their required practicums and internships, but also after Clemson as well. We do have a course in recreation policymaking and global perspectives in PRTM. We also require a course in leadership or management, legal aspects or risk management, marketing or communication, and finance and funding strategies. And these courses offer you an opportunity to complete minor and major coursework at the same time. And we'll talk more about those options here in just a little bit. When we look at the specific coursework for community rec and sport management, this emphasis area requires students to complete the following courses. So behavioral concepts, we have an elements of recreation and park planning, and a commercial recreation course as specifically listed requirements. Students also have the opportunity to choose one PRTM elective course at the 3000 level or higher. So this is an opportunity to further tailor your coursework. So for example, if you're interested in maybe going into this more sport management side of things, you can take some of our PRTM classes that are more focused on that sport management realm. So you can actually get more education in the specific field you desire. And then each emphasis area requires 12 credits of any Clemson course taken at the 3000 level or higher. And I have a note here because these 3000 level or higher courses can count for the emphasis area or your major requirements, and they can count towards minor requirements as well. Now, to be clear, a minor is not required for this major. So that's how we can offer this opportunity for coursework to possibly double count and help you earn a minor if you're interested in a much more effective way. Our parks and conservation area management folks will take a course that introduces them to recreation resource management, visitor services, and interpretation. They'll also take the elements of recreation and park planning, and then they also have the advanced recreation resource management to really give them a lot of focus in that conservation realm and how to manage resources, whether it's at a wildlife center, state, local, or national park, and other related areas. And then finally, our travel and tourism students will complete their Introduction to Tourism course, tourism management, and community tourism development with a course that looks more specifically at international travel as well. And then I know I've touched a lot about minors with this degree. So a minor is not required. However, the PRTM degree does offer you a few opportunities to complete minor requirements with some of your select major required courses. So I touched on this before, but one course of leadership or management actually offers 3 choices. So you have Management 2010, Nonprofit Leadership 3030, or you could take a PRTM specific course. For stakeholder engagement or communication, you have the choice between Marketing 3010, 2 nonprofit leadership courses, or a PRTM course. The same holds true for Finance 3060, Nonprofit Leadership, or a PRTM course. What this offers you is the opportunity to take a path of coursework that lines up either with a business administration minor or a nonprofit leadership minor. So to help kind of visualize what I mean, if a student wants to minor in business administration, From those list of courses, they would take Management 2010, Marketing 3010, Finance 3060, and Law 3220, which is business law. All of those courses would count for your PRTM specific requirements and for the business administration minor if you declared it. The same holds true for a minor in nonprofit leadership. So a student would instead take NPL coursework. Again, all of these courses count for both minor and major requirements. So it's a really unique way to kind of add a little bit more to your degree without having to take a full 15 or 21 credit hour minor on top of your major coursework. And just some common minors, well, if you can imagine, business administration and nonprofit leadership are going to be two of our more popular options. Many students have chosen psychology, sociology, communication, sports communication. Students will also minor in youth development studies, but there are, I think, over 60 majors to choose from right now. I know we have some students that are doing brand communication. We have some folks that are doing wildlife and fisheries biology, environmental resources and policy minors. So really, there's a lot of ways to kind of add a little bit more to your degree if you're interested. And then our last concentration, of course, is recreational therapy. So rec therapy is a highly structured lockstep degree that allows students to pursue careers as a certified recreational therapist. As we look at coursework for rec therapy, this is very different than our Parks, Rec, and Tourism concentration. So for rec therapy, these students have to take Biology 1030 and the 1050 lab. They have the choice between general chemistry with 1010 or chemistry in context with 1050. And then they also have a 3-course sequence of psychology coursework, starting with Foundations of Psychology and includes Lifespan Developmental and Abnormal Psych. Rec therapy also requires students to complete the Therapeutic Applications of Anatomy and Physiology course. This is a rec therapy specific class designed to give our students a more tailored anatomy and physiology experience. All PRTM courses for rec therapy are exclusive to their concentration. What I mean by that is they take a set of PRTM courses that cover foundations of rec therapy, therapeutic applications, assessment, and planning and management of rec therapy services. So their PRTM coursework is very unique to them and really is specifically tailored towards a career in recreational therapy or a few other fields as well. For example, some students will declare a major in rec therapy and help them prepare for grad level programs such as occupational therapy or physical therapy programs. So this is possible with rec therapy. However, this will take a little bit of planning because the rec therapy concentration in coursework does not cover all of your occupational therapy or physical therapy coursework. So just as an example, if a student's interested in physical therapy, in addition to the first biology, which is 1030 and 1050, students also take the second series of biology, the second chemistry, 2 physics courses, and anatomy and physiology 1 and 2 if they want to pursue physical therapy. So it's not impossible to pursue physical therapy after completing rec therapy, but it's going to take a pretty significant amount of planning to make sure you're on a good path. To help with that path, Clemson has a department or an office called the Health Professions Advising Center. Their office works with you starting day 1 of your freshman year and really helps you plan out all of your OT, PT, med school, dental, optometry, any kind of medical or health-related grad program. They will work with you one-on-one to plan out prerequisites, understand the application process, and a standardized test they require. And they really do a great job of providing a full 4 or 5 year plan for students to be successful and really move on to those health-related professions. I briefly talked about this, but we do require several experiential learning moments as part of your PRTM degree. So all PRTM students have to complete 2 80-hour practicums. So practicum 1 is 80 hours, practicum 2 is 80 hours. Both of these have to be completed before a student completes their minimum 10-week 400-hour internship. And each of these experiences comes with credit hours that are built into the degree. So practicum 1 is an 80-hour experience. It's also worth 1 credit hour for your degree. PRTM 4050, which is your 400-hour internship, is actually worth 6 credit hours towards your degree. Rec therapy students also complete these requirements. However, their internship is typically around 14 weeks and a minimum 560 hours of internship experience. They are also required to complete an additional preceptorship experience in the Clemson area to even further build on their resume and really make sure they're prepared for the recreational therapy career. And rest assured, the PRTM department is going to provide support for students to help find practicums, help find internships, and those preceptorships for rec therapy students as well. So it's not like we're just going to cast you away and say, find these experiences on your own. We have faculty who are going to help you and really be a great resource for you to help get those experiences while you're a student. As we look outside the classroom, if you're looking to stay involved with PRTM, but perhaps in more unique ways, we do offer research opportunities with our PRTM faculty. So for those that might not be aware, PRTM is a research field. It is an academic field. There are journals and studies and hands-on real academic research that is published through the Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Management faculty. And they are always happy to have students join on their research projects, help them get that research experience if they're interested. Clemson Creative Inquiry, or CIs, these are more campus-wide research initiatives where students from different degrees and different majors come together to help answer a question or solve a common problem. This is also a really great way to work on a research team that is built up of very different majors and career plans for these students. We do offer a departmental honors program in PRTM, and we also offer PRTM-specific job fairs. So we try to host events at least a semester that help get students connected with employers, whether they're looking for practicums, the internships, or maybe their first full-time job after undergrad. We offer those specific job fairs pretty frequently. And we also have an annual honors and awards banquet for our PRTM undergrads and graduate students, just to help celebrate really their accomplishments. On the right-hand side, you do see a couple examples of PRTM adjacent opportunities. So at Clemson, we do have the Clemson Outdoor Lab, the Experimental Forest, and the Botanical Gardens, all where you'll pretty likely find some PRTM alums or PRTM students in those areas. And they're also just excellent opportunities to really engage with, even if you're not interested in PRTM, just fantastic resources in the Clemson University area. Looking at clubs and organizations for students, couple options within PRTM include Clemson Adaptive Sports and Recreation, the Clemson Event Planning Association, Rec Therapy Association, and we do have a general PRTM student association as well. The last bullet, which is Tiger Quest, this is really your gateway to getting involved at Clemson. I know I'm going to date myself a little bit with this reference, but Tiger Quest is kind of like Facebook for our student organizations. So Tiger Quest is your opportunity to log online to this portal and search for any organization by name, by type, by size even. It's just a really unique opportunity to find your group of folks that you might share an interest in. And it's incredibly easy to sign up for courses or sign up for organizations. So as an example, I helped a student who came to me and said they just wanted to get more involved on campus, and just showing them how easy Tiger Quest is to use, I accidentally signed myself up for the Agribusiness Society. So I'm really looking forward to what the Agribusiness Society at Clemson has to offer, but it's really that easy to get involved and really join these organizations. And then my last slide for y'all is just a brief snippet about summer orientation. Yes, attendance is required, so there is no dodging the orientation here at Clemson. Our sessions typically start in June and are available through July. Now, before orientation starts, try to send in all of your AP, your IB, dual enrollment, or any other transcripts that you may have to the Clemson Registrar's office. If you took the ACT or the SAT this year and you want to send those scores in, feel free to do that as well. And then make sure to try to take the Clemson Math Placement Test. The Modern Language Placement Test is not required for this degree. However, if you do want a minor in a modern language such as Spanish, French, Italian, German, etc., taking that Modern Language Placement Test is pretty helpful for you. Once you're at orientation, we'll be working one-on-one to develop a plan for your first semester at Clemson. So no student is ever going to register for coursework without meeting with their advisor, so meeting with me before they sign up for courses. And that's where we'll discuss minors, possible study abroad, if you want to get involved in research, if you really need anything else to make your first semester really a good, strong, meaningful transition, that's where we'll do it. And then we will also be of assistance for students during orientation when they sign up for their courses. Our entire advising office here in our college is available to help troubleshoot any registration issues as well. Seats for classes are held each orientation session, so don't worry about a class filling up if you might be at a later orientation date. There are set seat amounts available for students every orientation date, so you'll always have a good chance of getting the coursework that really fits your degree. If you decide to join the Honors College at Clemson, they will communicate separate information to you as part of that orientation experience. And I think that is enough from me. So what I want to do is really turn it over to our student panel now. For a brief moment, I will leave my email address up here. I'll also have it in the chat towards the end. If students do have questions or you want to follow up with me, that is my email address. You can always reach me directly. All right. So like I said, that is enough from me. I think it's a lot more impactful for our attendees to really hear from our current students. So with that in mind, I'm going to turn it over and let our student panelists introduce themselves. So I'm just going to go kind of counterclockwise as I see students in Zoom. So Mary Alice, if we start with you, maybe just a brief introduction, name, major, hometown, and what you hope to do with your PRTM degree.
Yeah, so hey, I'm Mary Alice. I'm a junior. I'm from Clemson, actually. So yeah, I'm a PRTM major, but I'm focusing mainly on the sport management aspect. And I'm also a brand communications minor. So I'd love to do something kind of combining both, either work at a professional sports teams facility or just like a sport agency, something like that, kind of within their creative department or their event planning department. But yeah, so that.
Awesome. Nicole, how about let's hear from you?
Yeah, so my name's Nicole Entrap. I go by Nikki. I'm from New Jersey originally, and now I am a junior slash senior kind of. It all kind of gets fuzzy towards the end there because it depends how many credits you take. So I'm finishing up soon with a recreational therapy concentration and a minor in nonprofit leadership. I actually had the opportunity to do the very first Australia study abroad program. So that was really exciting, and it kind of shifted my goals a little bit to now wanting to be involved with adaptive sports over in Australia as well. So that Sporting Wheelies opportunity is something that I actually was in charge of creating, and I would love to go back and work with them and help build the field over there.
Awesome. And then Brian, let's hear from you.
I'm Brian Burgess. I am a junior slash senior. You kind of get stuck in between. I am Parks and Conservation is my emphasis, with a double major in youth development and nonprofit leadership. So that's my goal, is just to be, outside in a park like I currently am.
Awesome. So for our attendees, I know I mentioned at the start of this event, we aren't able to hear you interact with us, just at least through voice. However, I will turn that feature on now. So if you do have any questions, feel free to use your microphone and we can really get that started and help answer any questions you might have. And then just a heads up, you are currently muted, so make sure to take yourself off mute if you have any questions. Or if you'd rather just use the chat or the Q&A, you can absolutely do that too. So as we're kind of collecting our thoughts here and maybe trying to get some questions ready, I have a question for our panelists. So what kind of inspired y'all to pursue PRTM? Were you a first semester freshman PRTM student? Were you a change of major? Or really, why PRTM?
I can go first. I had always knew I wanted to do something within sports. And I started off as a PRTM major, so as a freshman, and the sport management kind of the coursework just looked like the best option for me, and it definitely has been. I've loved being able to kind of pick and choose what was kind of super important to me to kind of like tailor towards hopefully like my future career. So yeah, so that's definitely kind of why I chose PRTM and like going that route.
Yeah, I kind of had more of an experience, like you mentioned before, having it be more of a found major along the way. I originally came in wanting to do physical therapy, and I would always tell people I want to do something that's like non-traditional physical therapy. I want to be able to include activities that people enjoy doing, that they're passionate about, that hobbies that they do every day and that they might think they're no longer able to do because of an injury they acquired or something like that. And through working with the Student Veterans Association and then finding Team River Runner, between those two organizations, I had met a couple of people that were really influential in leading me towards recreational therapy and showing me that PRTM is a major that would be really helpful to kind of go down that path that I've been talking about.
Yeah, for me, I actually transferred in. I had about 60 or so credits in religious studies at that point, and realized that the academic side was not for me. I didn't want to be stuck in a building all day. I much prefer being outside. That's when I, started exploring Parks and Rec. Talked to Troy about it, and he got me hooked. And here I am today. Again, junior/senior, hopefully getting through this pretty soon. But I came a different route.
Awesome, thanks, y'all. If there's no questions from our attendees, I got another one. So maybe tell us, what is your favorite class you've taken at PRTM, or maybe a favorite subject area?
Oh, I could definitely go first on this one. So I got the opportunity, I might be biased because I love adaptive sports, but there's an adaptive sports class within PRTM that is not just for recreational therapy majors. So we had a lot of, or concentrations, we had a lot of individuals that were not in recreational therapy. And I think it's really cool because even for individuals that are in like the sports concentrations and such that aren't towards the therapy side, they can see how those sports might look with different adaptations, and you get to try out. I think every week we got to try out a different sport. So we did like wheelchair basketball, wheelchair rugby, adaptive golf, we did hand cycles, and it's just such a hands-on experience, and it's so non-traditional. You're not sitting in a classroom the whole time. There's a couple lectures here and there, but you really get to go out and try out all these really cool things. And it's nice to kind of take a break from the classroom and get that hands-on experience. And it's really eye-opening for some people that might not necessarily have exposure to that all the time. So I definitely recommend taking it, and it's a lot of fun.
I can go next. I think one of my favorite ones, I probably have two that I really, really liked. My first one was the programming and trends in community sport. That one was just really cool because it wasn't kind of just like based off exactly of like a textbook and like reading about things that happened 20 years ago and stuff. It was talking about the things that were happening right here and now, and it was just really, really cool to like finally be like in a class that was like so present and current. We were like talking about like TikTok and like things like that and how that's like affecting sport, and that was just really cool. So that one was really fun, and we got to do like some really cool group projects. And then I also really liked my risk management class that I took too. That was just a really cool and eye-opening class. I like definitely like now, like I took that my sophomore year, so like last year. And now I just like can see in so many of the classes I'm taking now, not even classes that are part of PRTM, even in my minor, I just like have used information I've gained from that and like been like, wait, look, let me look at it from this perspective. So that was a very like beneficial class beyond just PRTM. So
Yeah, for me, it was actually the EDGE program. So I came in right at this Zoom and Doom timeframe that we're in of quarantine. And so they were switching everything, and taking 15 credit hours online was a little rough. So our professor understood that, there is that mental health aspect of it too. And so we would cancel class and go out to the forest. You can socially distance in Clemson's experimental forest, which is 17,500 acres. So there's plenty of trails and things to get out in. And, doing things like that really hooked me in, and understanding the who, what, where, and why of Parks and Rec. That just got me. That's what I really enjoyed.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Any questions from our attendees at all? If there's none, don't worry. I got plenty more to help kind of talk about PRTM. So I know in part of the PowerPoint slides, I mentioned a lot about like practicums, internships, preceptorships. A lot of hands-on learning really is a big part of this PRTM degree. So if y'all could talk about your experience with finding those internships, finding those practicums, and maybe what y'all are planning to do or have already done.
I guess I could go. So like you mentioned before, rec therapy is kind of very specific in the internship that has to be completed. That's mainly just because our like recreational therapy kind of governing body has these restrictions and requirements that you have to fulfill. So Clemson does a really good job of structuring their program to prepare you for that ahead of time and fit the internship that they require to the requirements to get certified. But we have an affiliation list that has like 30 plus internship locations, and not all just around here. There's plenty all around the country. And it's not to say that you have to pick something off of that list, because you could definitely find something on your own. And the amazing Carmen Hawkins can get that affiliation agreement going. So that's actually something that I did. I had found an internship program down in Texas, and we didn't have an affiliation yet, but I spoke with Carmen and kind of took the initiative to get that affiliation going. And it took less than a month to get that going. So it's very flexible. You can find ones on your own, but there's also that guidance where they will help you find things. And there's a huge list of things that you could pick from. And we have a really good faculty, even outside of rec therapy, that know the field, and they know how to recommend places, and they have a lot of knowledge on that as well. And all the professors I've ever talked to are more than willing to set up like meetings with you to help you find places and to help guide you through those conversations. So.
And for rec therapy students that Nikki mentioned, Carmen Hawkins is their internship coordinator, internship supervisor, kind of all-in-one superstar. So she actually works with the rec therapy students in particular to really help them get set up with internship opportunities and make sure they really have those experiences. So she's
a lifesaver, and she never stress. She makes sure you don't stress. Like, she takes away all the worry. She really does. So you won't be too worried once you get to that point.
I can go next. So definitely focusing on the sports side. So for the first two practicums that you had to do, I actually did them through the athletic department at Clemson, which was really, really cool experience. The first one I did through the marketing department, which was really cool, dealing with like game promotions and helping like just everyday like things in that, helping set up stuff for the sporting events, doing like halftime things. So that was really, really fun. And the athletic department is great about being super easy to talk to. I have a lot of friends that have done different things through the athletic department. And that was just really nice because it was close and it was easy, not a far commute or anything. And doing them during like a semester, like while you also have classes, they were super great about that. So that was what I had done for my first two. And then I have actually, for my the 400-hour internship, I am in the little like, they have a class that you're in, a field training class that has a bunch of different possibilities for internships that they can help you. But I kind of went a little bit and like searched a lot around kind of having a sport management as like my thing I was searching for. And I have an internship for the summer with actually Nike. So I'm very excited about that.
Oh,
I found that out like actually like 5 days ago. So very new news. But yeah, so definitely if you're a sport management major, you can do a lot of things. So yeah, so definitely, I don't know, that's exciting. But yeah, that's what I'm doing.
awesome.
I know for Parks and Conservation, you can go anywhere and do anything. They're open to any of that. So state parks, national parks, Department of Natural Resources, that's where they kind of want you headed to. For me, it was a little bit different because I'm going off of my double minor, and I will be doing my internship and practicums with a local church group, doing nonprofit leadership and youth development.
That's awesome. So hopefully everybody can see just how approachable PRTM faculty are, how much they're willing to support you. And everybody here who's talking about their internship experiences, whether they're, past, present, or future, a lot of them are either coming from working with our PRTM faculty or even blazing your own trail and finding your own internships. We're not necessarily going to restrict you in a practicum or internship site either. We're not in the business of saying you have to work at X, Y, or Z location, because the PRTM degree is really designed to accommodate your career interests. So, it wouldn't make a lot of sense for us to limit you on those really career building experiences. So whether it's working down in Texas or Nike or working with those youth serving groups within like a church setting, all of those are possible to use as practicum experiences. And, the possibilities are really endless.
I think it's cool to mention too, just kind of from my own experience, and I know a couple of my friends have had the same thing, because you have like those practicums and the internships, you can dip your toes in so many different areas. Like my practicum was actually at an equine therapy farm out in Seneca that I work at now, called Wild Hearts. So I'm going from doing a practicum with equine therapy, and now I'm completely shifting for my internship to be completely adaptive sports related and in like a nonprofit type of environment. So it's cool because you get those like multiple experiences, so they don't all have to be the same thing, and you can kind of try out different areas. That's like, especially if you don't know exactly what you want to do, it gives you the chance to try different things.
Yeah, and I agree like wholeheartedly with that. And also I just know like even just from like a resume, it looks so great if you've tried multiple different things. Like if you have these different like little hats you can put on, that you've like worked in some sort of different little sectors, it makes you an even more like it looks even better when you're like applying for things. So
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. So I guess I'll just wrap up here with a couple questions, maybe a little bit beyond PRTM, and just talk about Clemson. Why Clemson University for y'all?
I don't know if you want me to start on that. that could take the rest of the night. But I think for PRTM majors especially, we're typically people that love the outdoors, love going, love trying different things, doing different things. And that's really what Clemson offers. I think that there's so much to do, whether it's hiking, fishing. There's a lake right on the campus. There's a brand new rec facility that has so much to offer, like rentals and such. But I feel like really what we've talked about so far, and it really stands true, is just you get to try so many things and you really get to personalize your own experience. And I would never look back on my decision. I'm so happy to be here, and I could talk about it forever, so I'm going to keep it short.
I agree. I just feel like Clemson, it's so cheesy, but it is so different. It's a totally different feeling when you're here, and the things that they offer. I mean, even like what Troy said, the amount of minors that we have and like the abilities, like even if you're not doing like, okay, I'm gonna minor in this, like then there's a club that you can get involved in for something. Like there's absolutely everything for any type of person. And there's just so many different types of people. There's just so many things to do. We're just in a great area too. We're close to things, but not like right on top of things. So I don't know. It's just, everything is great.
They say there's something in these hills and you can't describe it, and it sounds cheesy and you're going to hear that a million times, but there really is, and you can't describe it. It's just something magical and special about this place.
Yeah, I'm going to have to second that. I'm a non-traditional student. So my first time visiting Clemson was when my wife was a student 20-ish years ago. So needless to say, it took us a long journey, but I finally had the opportunity to go back to school, and Clemson was top of the list. And I know for me, one of the big things is I've got 3 kids, so working in that schedule that I have to work with, the professors have been fantastic. They understand that there is life outside of school, and they are more than willing to work with you, and you don't find that everywhere. And I've been around the block a couple times.
And speaking as somebody who wasn't a Clemson alum, I'm actually, I don't like saying this, I'm actually from Ohio, but I'm not an Ohio State fan, so take that how you will. But for me, and a little bit more info about myself, I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary here, but I still haven't seen my office. So I still have not yet officially worked on campus, but I've been here about a year now. But even though I've been working virtually, it has been just an unbelievable outpouring of support from whether it's my coworkers, from students, from other faculty and staff around campus. You really have that sense of community, and I really feel it. I like being cheesy. I like using a lot of cliches, and I really do feel it, even though, a lot of my interactions are over Zoom and over a digital platform. I still have that sense of community and that sense of that Clemson pride, even working from home. But I do want to be mindful of everyone's time. It's about 7:51 right now. So we'll leave it open for maybe just about a minute more. If our attendees have any questions, they can feel free to ask them now. But if there's no more questions, I definitely appreciate everyone joining us. I definitely appreciate our panelists taking an hour out of their evenings to spend time with us and really offer their experiences and perspectives. So thank you all as well.
I just want to say too, if anyone has questions, you can give my email to them. It's just entrap@g.clemson.edu. And I'd be more than happy for people to reach out if they want to get to know more about rec therapy or just Clemson in general. So I just want to put that out there.
And something I did too, oh, awesome. Mary Alice put
mine too.
In the chat. Nikki, if you want to type yours in the chat, you can absolutely do that as well. But all 3 of us, feel free to contact us if you have any questions. If you want to hear from a student side of things, go for it. Reach out to Nikki and Mary Alice. If you want to hear from an advisor, talk to me. That's why I'm here. We really want to make sure you have really all the information you need to make the best decision for yourself moving forward. But if there's nothing else, I definitely appreciate y'all coming on, attendees and panelists. And we'll stop the recording now, but definitely take care and enjoy the rest of your evening.